Well, hi everybody. It is January 15th, 2026. And Marguerite has already commented. How are you tonight? And she stays. Oh, I have the question. When the weather's bad, do you stay home? And I was kind of surprised to see this morning that some school systems were closed today. And Marguerite has answered my question that she stays home when the weather is inclement. When the weather is happy, when the weather can't make up its mind, I'm a homebody. I don't call winter weather bad. I like that. Weather just is. And yeah, I tend to stay home when the weather's bad. I have a fear of falling on ice. I have a fear of wrecking my car. So, so I stay home if at all possible. But talking about fear, Sunday Saturday it was above freezing, and then it started snowing. Well, it started raining, then it changed to snow. And when I looked out my window Sunday morning, the roads looked fine. And I live about a block away from the school. I live near an elementary school, so I thought I can go to church. Sorry about that. So I get out on the main roads and then I got to take a couple country roads to get to my church. And the two country roads were a sheet of ice. And I did about 20 miles an hour going to church. It was it was pretty scary for me. So, in fact, in church, instead of thinking about church, I was plotting how I was going to get home, which is not religious. And I thought, faith over fear. So I was gonna take the main roads home. I thought, no, I made it to church going on the back road. So I went home that way. And as you can tell, I am here. I'm all in one person. But I really do, now that I'm retired, I will not go out if the roads are bad. So yesterday, um, we weren't supposed to get any snow at all, and then we got, I don't know what it was. It wasn't snow, it was kinda like little tiny ice pellets. If you buy, like, Redmond salt, that was about the size of the white pellets that were falling from the sky, and we got over an inch, and I guess the roads were pretty bad. So, I was glad I stayed home. I was glad I didn't have to go anywhere yesterday. But I was quite surprised when some of the school systems were closed, and the school system I live in was closed, and others had a 2-hour delay. Let's see. Hi, Mary. How are you tonight? Mary, do you want to have to look up? Do you want to have to look up? I'm not sure what that means. I am trying to look at the light where the camera is on my computer, if that's what you're asking, instead of looking at me, which is a really bad habit. And then I'm going to take my glasses off. I have trifocals, and that's part of the problem because I'm looking up and down. So when I take my glasses off, I can see just fine far away. It's close up. That's a bit of a it's a bit of a problem. Oh, okay. So leisure, I gotcha. You were trying to be kind and help me remember that your name is Mary. So thank you so much. In fact, I have a little cheat sheet, and I glanced at it before I get online because you're leisure, whatever, leisure 057, and I know you're Mary, and there's a couple other people. So I sometimes I write down the person's name and the state they're from. So how did that morph to that? I don't know. So Marguerite, good to see you. I maybe you made your comment before we went live. She talked about When the weather's bad, she stays home and she's a homebody anyways. And that is kind of like me. And I like Marguerite's comment. She says, when the weather can't make up its mind, she's a homebody. And I am kind of the same way. I've always liked being home. When when I was married a million years ago, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I started working when my youngest was in first or second grade. I loved being home. The whole time I worked, after I started working, I just wanted to be home. So I'm home now and I don't miss working. I know there's people out there that enjoy working. I know my daughter, she's always worked, and when, she took maternity leave for both the children, and she couldn't wait to get back to work. I thought, oh. But that we're different people, and she loved her job, so and the kids were in good daycare, so that's all that matters. Mary says she can't drive in snow. I don't like driving in snow. And AJ, how are you tonight? You're not late. We just logged on. So do you have snow? I'm Kelly, kind of belly aching about driving in bad weather. I don't like it. So I must admit missed something in the comments because they're talking about the wonders of spell check. AJ had snow today, but he always has to go to work. And I texted my daughter. She commutes, I think it's about a 45-minute commute from her home to where she works. And sometimes she can work from home. And yesterday, when she saw the roads deteriorating, she was able to not take the day off, but she was able to work from home today and tomorrow. It is a long drive. Um, and then my son, he works in a different town too. They both they both found jobs. We live in a fairly large town, and they both found jobs in smaller communities. So you do what you got to do. And AJ doesn't mind driving in the snow. He's been doing it all his life, and he only has a 15-minute commute. I was fortunate. I had two jobs in my working career where I worked. My jobs were like 2 miles from home. In fact, the jobs, I was an accountant. They were entirely different industries, but they were right across the street from each other. So it was kind of weird when I went to the second job and I could see my old company right across the street. But the first place I worked, they closed, so they're no longer there. In fact, the church bought the building. Marguerite says same AJ winter weather. She got her license in December at 16, so plenty of experience. Oh, and I was one of those. Driving's kind of a sore subject. My mom never drove. She just chose not to. And when I turned 16, I begged and begged and begged and begged my dad. I wanted to take driver's ed. And well, your mom doesn't drive, and he didn't see the need for it. So I did take driver's ed when I was 17. And then I didn't get my license. I got married at 18 and I got my driver's license. We bought a car when I was 19. And I decided way back then I was going to get my driver's license if it was the last thing I ever did. So I got my driver's license and I did a lot of things after I turned 19. And simply Michelle, let me put my glasses on. I think I have a new person on here. Hi, Simply Michelle Budget Life. If she can't make it to work, she lives off of a bus line. and she's not as dedicated to getting to my job during snow as I was when I was younger. So, hi, Michelle. I'm not sure I've seen you on here before. What part of the country do you live in? And Marguerite has never ridden on a bus, and I have ridden on a school bus, but never a bus to drive around town. So I'm kind of like you, Marguerite. In fact, as far as buses go, I grew up in Michigan near Detroit, and we had to live a mile and a half away from school before we could even ride a bus. So I always walked to school. And Michelle's in Washington State. And we moved to Indiana when I was 16, and we had to take a bus to school. That's the first time I ever took a bus. So, do you have any snow in Washington State, Michelle? Our weather's been kind of crazy here in Indiana. Let's see. Mary lived in Philadelphia when she was a kid, and we either walked, took a bus, or a trolley, or the L. Well, we never had, I hate to say never, but we very rarely had school delays in Michigan. And I remember waking up and the sun was obviously shining. I started crying and I don't know, I was 8 or 9 years old. And Mom, you didn't wake me up so I could go to school. And she goes, well, look out the window. And we had a blizzard. I think it was 1964. It was kind of a freak blizzard. It was in April and we didn't have school. And that's the only blizzard I remember growing up. But I remember my dad and all the guys in our little neighborhood, they shoveled out the street. I mean, it was just a really freak storm. So that was one time I missed school when I lived in Michigan. But in Indiana, Indiana, you don't go too far and you're out in farm country. And it seems like no matter what county we live in, that there's more fog because you're in farmland, and so there's always school delays and stuff. So my kids grew up having lots of school delays. And Michelle, yeah, Washington State can kind of be that way. Just a lot of rain. And I've heard Seattle, isn't Seattle like one of the cloudiest cities in the country? Oh, she took the pet bus to games a lot. Yeah, school bus is a little bit different. So yeah, those were the good old days. We got to ride the bus to go to school, and a couple of you commuted on a bus. Um, but I've never really done that. We don't have a very good mass transit system where I live. I suppose if you live downtown, you could ride the bus, but pretty much we don't. So how's everybody doing tonight? I got on a topic of if there's a school delay, do you stay home day too? I'm kind of fortunate because my home is a block away from an elementary school. So my roads, let's see, the school road, you get to the end of the school road, you turn left, and my house is the third house on the left. And usually the salt from the main road makes it to my house. So I'm pretty fortunate with the roads being pretty cleared off for me. And then I'm not, my housing addition is right off a main road. So I don't have too much trouble getting out and about. AJ still works and he's glad tomorrow is Friday. And I've been retired long enough that I don't know what day it is anymore. And it's kind of discerning. Although I had the radio on while I was making dinner tonight, and it was 6 o'clock, and the DJ came on and said it was Friday evening. I'm going, wait a minute, it's not Friday. She was really wishing it was Friday. And Mary, you did get here early tonight, so I'm glad you were able to make it. Sometimes you have other commitments. Mary says she will be retired 8 years ago. 8 years already. Well, congratulations on that. And Mary says it's walking. I'm not sure why you said it's walking. Oh, she'll be retired 8 years in May. I think I've mentioned this before. I retired in May of 2021, and I was good for about 6 months, and I started getting really, really bored. So I temped for a while, and then I eventually found a part-time job, and I did that for about 2 years. And as most part-time jobs happen, they end up being full-time jobs. And I did full-time or close to it for about 2 or 3 months. I said, I'm done. This is too much. So um, I finally retired. I think it was in July of 2024. And Mary has another commitment besides her job. Okay, she retired in May. We all like May. She has two different retirement days. I retired in May because I was 65 and a half, and I wanted to take the summer off. So I retired in May. I kind of did the math. Oh, your other commitment was walking. I bet walking was much healthier for you than doing your job. Walking is good for you. I can't wait for May. It's January. I can't wait till it's May. And the grass is green and all the flowers are coming out and I can work in the yard or work in my garden. I can't wait. Marguerite is getting pretty bored too. I did a 1,000-piece puzzle and I finished it. I think I finished it Monday. And I bought the puzzle used and I had one puzzle piece missing. I was telling my daughter, I felt like the parable of Jesus looking for the lost sheep. He had 100 and he was missing one. So he looks all over for his lost sheep, and I looked all over for this last puzzle piece, even though I knew the puzzle was used. I even, I even, uh, on my vacuum cleaner, I've got a removable dust thingy. So I even took that apart to see the puzzle pieces in there, but it wasn't. So I was looking and looking, and I concluded that the piece just never made it back in the box. But fortunately, it was one of the edges, so it wasn't right in the middle of the box. But I finished my puzzle. Marguerite says, Marguerite says she doesn't want a commitment where you have to show up at a particular time. I'm kind of the same way anymore. And AJ says we're halfway through January. Yay! And Marguerite, I've done online puzzles too, where they're 50 pieces, and that's about all she likes to do. The 1,000-piece puzzle, the last 100 pieces are a lot easier to find than the first 100. So, Marguerite, I had one missing piece. It was a used puzzle that I bought. In fact, I looked at the bottom of the box because I couldn't remember where I got it, and I was in a bookstore in Goshen, Indiana, and I must have been there in 2024 because it was marked at the bottom of the box that it was used and it was okay. So it sat in my house for 2 years before I got to it, and I have about a dozen boxes. I've never made a. I haven't used. I haven't opened them up yet to do a puzzle. So I think that is on my list for the rest of the winters to do another puzzle or two. It's kind of fun to do them. You can sit back and daydream. And I'm pretty good at daydreaming. And I'm kind of lost. I finished the 1,000-piece puzzle. And then I was making a college throw for my grandson. I got that done for by Christmas. I kind of miss knitting it. I couldn't wait to finish it. Now I kind of miss it. And then I have a lot of knitting projects that I've never finished. My motto this year is to finish what I start. So I had 2 socks. They're Christmassy socks that I had knitted one, but not the second one. So I knitted those 2. So I'm really on a roll here. I finished a 1,000-piece puzzle and I've knitted 2 socks. Marguerite started reading a book. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but I read a book. It's called A Knock at the Door by Rob Parsons. And I love this book. And I've told people in live and that I know, and I don't remember if I talked about it on here or not, but Rob Parsons, and I found out he's kind of a prolific author. He lives in Wales and I don't understand lawyers in the UK. I did mention it. And he was a solicitor. Oh, Marguerite, you'd mentioned it and it isn't available at your library. I'm sorry to hear that. So if any of you want uh, a good human, I hate to say human, a really nice biography about somebody's life, this is an excellent book to get. And he went to school with this boy named Ronnie, and Ronnie was mentally delayed, had learning disabilities, and he shows up on Rob's doorstep when they were both in their mid-20s, and he befriended Ronnie, and Ronnie ended up living with him until he died, and they lived together for 44 or 45 years. So it's a really good book, and a man wrote the book. You know, sometimes you read a book and it's emotional and girly and stuff. This book was not like that at all. A man would enjoy reading it. In fact, I'm debating sending my pastor an email and saying this would be a good story to talk about in a sermon sometime, because he really did live as Jesus told us to help those who need help, that are poor or disadvantaged in some way. And this was truly one of those kind of stories. Oh, Lisa Minnelli's book comes out in March. Oh, that would be a good book to read, AJ. And I do remember talking about that. Now that you mention AJ, now that you mention Lisa Minnelli's book, I liked Alex Trebek's book. He was the host for Jeopardy. I enjoyed listening to him. And then Marguerite's reading a book of Cary Grant's bio by his daughter. Oh, but she got bored. I was watching, what was the book? Shoot. I should have written it down. In January, you hear all these not authors, people that have a book reading list. And this guy he was talking about a book. It's one of the best books he ever read, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, shoot. And I'll have to look that up and report back next week. I had a girlfriend recommend their Christian books by Lynn Austin. So I got one at the library and I started reading the book. It was a character in the Old Testament. And now I don't remember which character it was. It's kind of she she kind of takes a story from the Old Testament and turns it into a fiction. And it was kind of dark. So I quit reading it. I thought the book is free, I don't have to finish it. So I didn't. Oh, I know what the story was. Well, I don't want to go into detail. But it was kind of sad. I mean, it really did. It was I forget which. It was somewhere in the Old Testament. And people were sacrificing their babies to other gods, and that's how this story started out. And it was just I couldn't finish it, so I didn't. The Bible has some really good stuff in it, and it has some really dark things in it. The Bible does not sugarcoat anything. We see the glorious from the creation to the depths of hell, and that is the truth. And we see some really evil things that happen. But the good news is, if we love Jesus, we will we will be with him for eternity. And that is my my witness. I don't talk about I talk about God a little bit, but I don't get too deep. What else is going on? Oh, tomorrow, actually I started last Friday. I'm doing a financial Fridays, and I'm trying to come up with a plan to teach people how to budget better if you're into that. So last week I talked about a brief overview and my nose itches. And then I spent today quite a bit of time today how I do my budget. And so I took pictures and I talked a lot and I edited a lot. So I'm hoping it makes sense for people that are interested in budgeting. So um, that's kind of what I did today. And what else have I done this week? I started back to the Bible. I started reading through the Bible again this year, and I'm doing a different series. It's not on my kitchen table. Here it is. I hope you guys don't mind. One person I like watching on YouTube, his name is Tim Wildsmith, and he does a lot of Bible reviews, and that's how I started watching him. But he's written a nice book, a nice book. It's called the Daily Scripture Guidebook. I'm trying to get it straight. So, anyways, it's reading through the Bible. Every day you read from the Old Testament, New Testament, and then either a Psalm or Proverbs. And he reads it online every day. And so far, I'm really liking it. I've done reading through the Bible chronologically, and I'm kind of like doing a split of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And then Tim, his wife, once a week on the seventh day, his wife comes on and they do a recap of what they read during the week. And it's kind of interesting how, his wife is a lay person, whereas Tim is a minister. So it's kind of neat to see her perspective on things versus Tim's. So I've been enjoying doing that, and I hope that I will finish it. I'm going to finish what I start. But there's so many read through the Bibles in a year, and I usually get bogged down, and then I never finish it. So I'm hoping this year that this book I seem to like. I enjoy reading both the old and the new, and then they talk about what they read once a week. And what else? I do like to garden, and I'm starting to dream about starting seeds. It's only January. Hi, Evie. How are you? How's your watercoloring going? Evie does watercoloring, and I enjoy watching her videos. And sometimes Evie does a scripture and does a watercolor picture to go with it. So we're just kind of rambling on. So, Evie, you live in Texas, so you don't have this problem. Here in Indiana, we have no school days due to bad weather. And so you probably don't have that down in Texas. But if I remember right, you've lived in different parts of the country. Oh, she painted a picture of Chloe. Chloe is it a parrot or parakeet? I'm not up on the specific name of birds. Ellie says if they get snow or ice, they do close school. But Chloe's a beautiful bird. I guess Chloe's a girl. Chloe is blue and green, and I think she's beautiful. And speaking of birds, my grandpa had a bird, and they would go to Florida for a month every winter, and we would bird sit for a month. My mom didn't like the bird, but she did it because she was a good daughter-in-law. Okay, Evie says her bird is a little smaller than an African gray. Now, your bird doesn't talk, though, does it? I've heard her sing a time or two. And Evie's bird seems to understand simple commands. I think that's kind of cool. She is not a talker. Okay. My nose itches. I'm so sorry. Can you imagine? I suppose I suppose if a bird talked, you get used to it talking. She spins and shakes hands and comes when called. Okay. So you have some interaction with your bird. Does anybody else have pets? I don't think Marguerite has a cat. How about you, Mary or AJ? Do you guys have pets? Okay, bye, Evie. I'm glad you stopped by. AJ has two cats and they're a brother and sister. I've never owned a pet. We didn't grow up with them, and I never really wanted any, and my kids did. I think we had a couple gerbils, and that was the extent. And we had goldfish. But I told my kids if they wanted pets when they grew up and left home, they could have all the pets they wanted, and they do. Marguerite has one cat. He's 13, so he's getting up there in age. I remember you saying last week that he had a checkup and he was perfect. Mary used to have cats, one from age 4 when she was 24, and then a neighbor's cat. from 1995 to 2002. And AJ had a cat that lived to be 19 years old. My good friend had a cat. I don't know how old it was. She got it from, oh, I want to say she got it from the cat pound. And they guessed she was 10 years old or so, but she lived with my friend for quite a while. She had to have her put down, oh, a few months ago, and she just got another cat. And Marguerite said one of her babies lived to be 24, another 18. That is old for a cat. I guess one of my things is, I mean, they become a part of your family. I would I would be so sad after they died. So that's the only bad thing. And I've discovered over the years I'm allergic to cats. So I'm glad I never got attached to a cat. She was part Siamese. I didn't know that. Part Siamese, and they have a longevity gene. Did your cat have blue eyes? Siamese cats have beautiful blue eyes. Simply Michelle has a cat, and she's a sweetheart. And Marguerite said she was crushed when her 8-year-old had a stroke. My dog, my son had a German Shepherd that he just loved, and he started having strokes, and they were heartbroken. They took the dog to the vet, and they could have taken it to Purdue University and had all this lab work done, but it would have cost thousands of dollars. They just didn't have the money, and you hate to say, but at the end of the day, it's a pet, and the dog got worse, and he had a really bad stroke, and they had him put down, but it was hard to watch my son go through that. And Marguerite said her cat didn't look Siamese at all, and her dad was all black. Hmm. So we do get attached to our pets. Um, my neighbor behind me, they got a rescue dog. It's a pit bull, and he was very overweight. And they got this big beach ball about as big as him, and he chased that beach ball all over the yard. And when they first got him, I heard this really weird panting sound. I thought, "What is that noise?" And the dog was so out of shape. He he would be panting after chasing after the beach ball, but I'll tell you what, he is slim and trim now. So, if you wanna lose weight, get a huge beach ball and chase after it all day. You will lose weight. But I'll tell you that the noise, I thought, "Who's having a heart attack outside?" And it's the dog. So Marguerite, oh, she's gonna go get a beach ball. So maybe that's what I need to do is get a beach ball. So chase it around my house. And she says her Apple Watch should be here tomorrow. That's too funny. Oh my gosh. The only thing I chase is in the summertime, I chase the lawnmowers. Mow around the yard, go round and around and around until till the grass is short, right? I almost miss mowing the yard right now. Oh, she really is getting an Apple Watch tomorrow. I don't know much about Apple Watches. I guess they're kind of like Oh, Apple cell phones. There's a new model every year. Marguerite says no, the SE3, the SE3, which is supposedly amazing, but much less expensive. They have a fall and crash detector. Is that for chasing beach balls? Make sure you don't fall and crash trying to catch the beach ball. Yes, when we live alone, we need to have something. Um, I think it was Buzz from Buzz's retirement. His dad had a senior alert thing, and his dad took his alert off and he fell and he couldn't get up. And I guess Buzz would go and check on him, and there was his dad. He fell and couldn't get up. So I'm glad he stopped by. Marguerite just signed up with an app called Snug. If you don't check in every day, your emergency contacts are notified. I started doing this with my daughter and I've slacked off a little bit, but when Gene Hackman, when they found he had died, him and his wife, um, I told my daughter I was going to text her every day because I live alone, and I text her most days, but some days I skip a few. So yeah, it's important if we live alone to have some kind of accountability, whether it's a gadget or another person. Speaking of gadgets, I have this gadget called Ting. It's Ting, and it you plug it in the wall, and it's supposed to monitor your wires in your house because if wires go bad, they can start a fire. And this Ting thing has a really bright green light. I mean, I don't need a night light. I ended up keeping it in my kitchen, and my bedroom's on the other end of the house. I could walk through the house and walk to my kitchen because this little green light was on. I didn't have to turn on a light. And I know this sounds kind of stupid, but I'm trying to cut back on my electric bill a little bit. And this Ting thing, you plug it in the wall. Well, when you unplug it, it's really warm. It's not hot, but it's warm. And I thought, well, how much electricity is this thing using? So I unplugged it about 2 weeks ago, and I've been getting all these emails. You've unplugged it. You need to plug it back in. And I wrote back 3 times and said, I've unplugged it. And I got all these warnings. There could be a fire in your walls because your wires are bad. I thought, well, I'll take my chances. But it just it was using electricity more than I thought it should. And AJ says there's an app called Snug. Oh, so Marguerite and AJ are talking about Snug. If you don't check in, it notifies your emergency contacts. Highly recommended. Okay, Marguerite said it first, and then AJ was typing, and Marguerite said it first. So maybe I should check into that. I'm going to write that down. Snug. Snug is a bug in a rug. But my electric bill keeps going up and up and up, and I've been reading um, that some appliances, they call it phantom electricity. Like if you, excuse me, if you have a coffee machine, a coffee pot that has a clock on it, it uses more electricity because it's got the clock on it than just a regular plug-in thing. And this Ting, um, it had this glowing green light. It was brighter than a nightlight, so I decided that needed to go. AJ said, yes, like your coffee pot. He unplugs his when he's done using it. And I have a coffee pot that I rarely use, and I've unplugged it, even though it's just a plain old generic coffee pot. But so many things have stuff on it. Like my microwave's got a clock on it. You can't unplug the microwave. Well, I can't because it's up too high. But all these little things use electricity, and I've debated unplugging my smart TV at night. My old smart TV. Oh, Marguerite's got to go. Oh, I'm glad you stopped by, Marguerite, and I hope you have a really good weekend. And my old TV, what? I quit watching television, but it was still plugged in, so I unplugged it. I would turn it on about once every 2 or 3 months to watch a movie or something. But my new smart TV, I can watch YouTube on it. So, what time is it? It's 7:45, I think. Yes, it is. I can see the kitchen clock better than the clock on my computer. So, does anybody have anything they'd like to talk about tonight? I've kind of done all the talking here. We covered the weather, and I don't know. I'm just kind of in the doldrums of January. A couple of us have read books or are reading books. Um, I don't know. I am getting kind of bored, to be honest. It's been really cold out. And then to add insult to injury, my left knee has decided it doesn't like me. So it hurts a lot. AJ, yes, it is almost tax season. Yay! So I'm debating going to the doctor. I'm pretty sure I have arthritis in my knee, but some days it's propped up on the sofa because it hurts. And I want to exercise, but when you have a body part that hurts, it kind of prevents that from happening. I think I would. I'm trying to read what Mary said here. I do think of things I would like opinions on, but don't remember. I have lots of thoughts. I would probably scare everybody away. It's true. I I like with what's going on in the news right now, um just I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but the Minnesota woman that was shot by the ICE person, I just found that story really disturbing. Was she really in the wrong spot and trying to get away, or was she deliberately keeping the ICE people from doing their job? And I don't know what's the truth. So it depends which side of the story you listen to. And that's kind of what I find disturbing. But that's just one example. There's all kinds of things going on in the world right now. And I just want the facts. I don't want the left side telling me this and the right side telling me that. AJ, that's what it looks like. And then I heard another story where she was dropping her child off from school and she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I don't know what's true. I mean, I really don't. But the bad thing is she's dead and she has a little boy, and I guess his father's deceased too. So that's just a really sad story. And then I don't know. It's just I think it was Mary says she majored in journalism, and I don't think they teach them the same. Oh my gosh. I remember um I'm old enough to remember when JF Kennedy died. And who doesn't remember, or you've seen clips of how, you know, I think we all cried when JFK died, and he was a true journalist back then. And Simply Michelle says she was obstructing them. So, see, I've heard two different sides of the story, and you truly do want to believe that the ICE was doing their job, but there's a lot of people that are angry about it. Even the weather is, oh, no kidding. The weather. Every day there's a warning. There's not a warning, but there's a weather alert. There's going to be 3 snowflakes that'll fall in my area today. So be careful. And Mary says there are videos. And yeah, um, it does appear she was in the wrong. Drive, baby, drive. Oh, I know. Talk about sensationalizing things. Monster storm moving across the country. Well, when the government was shut down, I get online every morning and I go to my NOAA weather, and I have a diary. I write the temperature when I woke up, and then I write the high for the day. And every day during the shutdown, there's this thing scrolling across. Even though the government shut down, NOAA will still be up. And I'm going, do we really need to see this? If you're online, I think we're okay. So, yeah, I want to be up to date on the news, but I just want the truth. And I do subscribe to it's called 1440. It's a email I get every day, and they're pretty good about just discussing the facts, which is what I want to see. And I know I'm seeing stuff on YouTube. Well, who's the best Democrat to run against J.D. Vance? And I'm going, it's 2 years away. And Simple Michelle, I did read that she was an activist, but then the butt story. And then you hear her say, well, she was a good mom and blah, blah, blah. So everything's got a bias. And I'm sorry that if she was breaking the law, she need they should have stopped her. I guess my thinking was, why didn't they shoot her tires instead of her windshield? And that's all I'm going to say on that. I probably said too much already. She didn't have custody. I didn't know that. I know she had 2 older children, and I think they lived with their father. AJ said the same thing. Why didn't they just shoot her tires? Because she didn't have a gun. If she'd have pointed a gun at the ICE agent, I would have said, yes, kill her. But a vehicle can kill you too. So that's that story. I am glad I never had to make such life-threatening decisions, like a police officer or a fireman or someone in the medical field. Um, I mean, you really have to think on your feet, and I'm glad I never had to do that. I would feel horrible if I felt like I made a mistake. It's bad enough when you do an accounting error, but most accounting errors are fixable. So we all have choices to make. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole here. So, And AJ Wells, can you imagine being in law enforcement? They do an amazing job. They truly do an amazing job. And I have a cop that lives across the street from me, and I truly am a homebody. So he moves in. It was about 10 years ago. And it was my birthday, and both my kids came over at the same time. And he knocked on my door to see if I was okay because I never have any company. So we kind of laugh about it now. And if I see him outside, I say, my birthday's coming up. My kids are coming over. But it's nice now. I mean, most policemen are kind, decent people. And Simply Michelle says she wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm pretty sure you're right. But, my point is, we hear all different sides. And I would never, I mean, I get vocal sometimes, but I would never purposely stop someone from doing their legal job. I wouldn't do that. And that's true, Simply Michelle, is when Charlie Kirk died, there were prayer vigils, and what a testimony he had. And QQ, and I know you're hi. I have to put my glasses on to see what you want. A person who lives just miles from the rioting, aka protesting. I'm staying home except my local grocery store. I'm an American, but I don't want to be anywhere near all that stuff. And I'm sure that's hard. And QQ, I have forgotten what your first name is. I have it written down. And I'm glad you stopped by. I think your name is Susie. You're Susie. Oh, and you live in Minnesota. Oh gosh, so you're right in the middle of it. I would be scared if I lived near that rioting. I would stay home too. And we should be able to feel safe in our locations. Hi Eli. Did I pronounce your name right? Eli likes turtles. And QQ is Susie. AJ, you went to one of Charlie's vigils. There was going to be one in my town, and I was going to go to it. And then I heard there was going to be a bunch of people protesting, and I thought, I'm not going. I felt kind of bad. But that's kind of where our world is right now. I pray a lot. So it's a crazy world out there. And I do believe that most people are good and kind. I truly do believe that. But you get one bad apple. And I don't understand why, there'll be a trial for one person and it gets a lot of attention and then others don't. AG was glad that he went and they didn't have any protesters. I think I probably would have gone if I had a girlfriend or somebody to go with me. I think, I'm a senior citizen now, so I do think twice about going to rallies anymore because I'm older. Right. All the people rioting across America for what's happening here in Minnesota. That's not so good. And that's the sad part. Um, and I know there's just a lot of division. Um, I'm kind of on the fence post about um, what's going on right now. And Eli, if people celebrated his death, there must have been a reason. And we're hearing all kinds of stories, and that's kind of when I started stepping away from the news because I heard just two opposite sides of the story, and every once in a while I hear stuff about his wife, and it's like, oh my gosh, leave her alone. So we just have to be discerning about what we hear and read. And that's the bad part, is what is the truth? And when I was in college, I was a non-traditional student, and I've never forgotten this story that I read. There was a boss who gave his employee a project to do, and when the employee turned in the project, the boss didn't like what he did. So he asked the employee why he completed the project the way he did. So the employee explained it. And then at the end of this story, there's a TV camera in the room. So there was three parts to the story, and I think that's what's true with most of life. You have the boss's story, which is one side. Then you have the employee's story, which is his version of the story. And then you have the camera, which just shows what really happened. Right, Susie, the truth is somewhere in between. And I think that's where I want to see the news and everything. I want to be able to see, well, what really did happen without coloring the situation. And that's what I'd like to see. So the truth is always somewhere in between. And when I was in high school, I had a girlfriend. I forget the exact story now, but we were in the band, and her she somehow broke her flute, and I forget what happened, but there was two or three that kind of witnessed the whole thing, and we all had to write what we saw when it happened. So I'm sure we all had different versions of the story, but we each had our own truth of what we saw. And how many of you women have gone to like bridal showers or baby showers or Tupperware showers, and they have someone come out, and they have all these different gadgets on a plate, and they walk around and they show it to everybody. And after it's been done a few times, you get to why. So you're sitting there, well, they had a zipper on there and they had a bobby pin, blah, blah, blah. And then she leaves the room and they go, okay, what was she wearing? And I have no idea what she was wearing. I couldn't even tell you the color of her shirt. So, so isn't life kind of like that? We get laser focused on one thing, and then we see the big picture. Eli thinks she knows what happened. So life is just like that, and we have to learn to decide what's true. Simply Michelle, and I do agree, independent journaling, I tend to listen to them more than the big news. Well, I kind of do the same thing with when I'm buying, um let's say go buy I don't know, go buy a new washing machine. Am I going to go to the big box store, or am I going to go find a guy that has his mom and pop business? I'd rather go there because he knows the machines better than someone at the big box store. I hope that makes sense. Speed Queen. Okay. I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick. I haven't talked to anybody all day. So yeah. So that's my rant. I'm glad I can talk to you guys. I always bought Sears, the Craftsman, and I always bought their appliances. And Whirlpool is good too. So now, I don't know what Kenmore. Yeah, Kenmore. And I'm trying to decide. My washer and dryer are over 20 years old. I'll have to look when I get out here. I'm not sure if they're Kenmore's or not. Um, I don't really know. I kind of lucked out with the washing machine. My son was still at home and he worked at a um, car place, and his jackets, I wish they'd have paid for them to have uniforms, but it would just they were filthy, so I'd wash them. And so I decided the washing machine was starting to go, and actually I did order a new one. And the washing machine, the day before I got the new one, at the spin cycle, it just went crazy and it was done. So my son's been married 26 years, I think. So my washer's getting up there in age. Well, that's what they say about most things. My refrigerator, I could see it, but I think it's a Whirlpool. But they say refrigerators only last 7 or 8 years, and I think mine's 10. So we're kind of in a disposable world right now. And thank goodness people aren't disposable. I'm 70 and I'm still walking on the planet. But yeah, I try to go for quantity versus no quality versus quantity. And I just remembered last week I monetized this live stream. I was kind of curious to see how many ads um, were came on while I was talking, and a couple people said they came on a time or two. I think I made like 10 cents on the monetized live stream. So I decided it wasn't worth it. And Marguerite usually tells me when she sees stuff, and she's already left. I forgot to mention that earlier. So I've decided that it isn't worth it to monetize a live stream. You get the ads, and I don't get any money for it. So it's not worth it for either one of us. Yeah, Susie. Yeah, like I said, my washer and dryer are both 25 years old, or 26, because Dave's been gone. I think they'll be married 26 years in July. So, but I live alone. It would have been different if I had the washing machine when both my kids were here and everything, and I washed diapers, everything. Get a whole lot more use than with just one person. AJ, there was last week. Well, I did monetize it last week. I was kind of curious to see how many ads were on it. And like I said, I made like 10 cents. I thought, well, this is ridiculous. I annoy my viewers and I don't get anything for it. So that's that story. And so I'm not going to monetize it ever again. I was just kind of curious. I became monetized in late October. And this is, if you want to make money, this is not the platform to do it on. Susie, I don't know. Well, the bad thing about YouTube is you have to have $100 in revenue before you get paid. And I became monetized in October, and I just hit $100. And so I'll get that check, I think, the end of February. So I've gone from October to February before even getting a check. So, and me being the honest person that I am, I was worried about having income from YouTube. And at the end of December, I had about $70, and I was worried that the IRS would want their portion of the taxes on $70. I checked it out with a tax person. I said, if it's under $600, you don't have to worry about it. And thank you for reminding people to hit the like button. And Susie, yes, it's $100 that I didn't have before, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm thankful for everybody that watches all the ads because that's how you make the money. But the bad part is, if you're a small content creator like I am, I make about $1 a day, sometimes a little bit more. It takes 3 months to get your money. And I do invest time doing this. I think up things to talk about, and then I have a pen in my hand. I and then I make the video, and then I edit all my boo-boos. So it does take time. In fact, that reminds me, tomorrow I have a video coming up out about Finance Friday, and I started editing it, and I did a lot, and then, and then I'm going, oh no. I hope I didn't do too many times, but I caught myself saying that when I was editing it, and to edit stuff out, it just looks all chopped up. So I don't know which is worse, the chopped up or the and thens. And Mary, yes, it takes a while to build, and I'm very thankful for the people that consistently watch my channel, and people like my grocery hauls, and they like my talk about money and finance. So I focus on those two. And I've done some videos. I've done a couple cooking videos, and I've done some gardening videos. And I don't get a whole lot of viewers for them, but I enjoy them. So I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do what I enjoy. And some people do enjoy the gardening videos, and the cooking not so much. I don't think I'm going to do cooking videos anymore. And thank you so much for hitting the like button. And I think being consistent as a small channel, like I'm on here every Thursday at 7 p.m. and I really appreciate you guys coming online, and you're like friends to me now. I've gotten to know you, and I'm just glad that you stop by every Thursday. So I like that. I like the community that we're building, and that's more important to me than the money end of it. So, but yeah, I'm just happy to that what I'm doing, other people are actually watching what I do. Yeah, Susie, I never remember your name. And I should remember with the QQ, Susie Q. And AJ, I do appreciate you stopping by every week. You're our man in the community. You're our what? Our alpha male. So, I do appreciate it. And now that I'm talking about topics, are there any topics you'd like? The only male. That's why he's the alpha male in a good way. The other guys don't know what they're missing. Let's be honest here. So, so if there's any other topics you'd like me to talk about, I will research them. We talk about books a little bit, so maybe we could do a Thursday on what books we really enjoy reading or something like that. Uh-oh, AJ. So you're just gonna have to promote my channel to all your guy friends, AJs. Tell them what they're missing. So, although maybe you wanna be the head honchos, so maybe you'll just keep it under wraps. And Mary, okay, try to remember some topics. Hi Dana, how are you tonight? And Dana listens on the way home from work, and I hope you have a safe drive home. I don't remember where you live, but it's kind of snowy and icy here in the Midwest. So I'm glad you stopped by and take care. And I don't remember where Dana lives. I started a notebook and I need to condense it. so, so I have everybody's name on one page. Oh, thank you, Susie, for asking that. Dana's in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been up the arch. St. Louis is kind of a cool city. Um, gets hot there, and I guess you do get some winter weather too. When a long time ago, my family went to the botanical gardens there. I thought it was pretty cool. We've been to the Cardinals baseball games. I know teams change their locations and names. I don't know if the St. Louis Cardinals are still there or not. And that reminds me, I heard on the news today that oh shoot, the Chicago Lions football, they're thinking of building a stadium in Indiana. That was news to me. I'm not sure where they're I'm not sure where they would go. Detroit Lions. Oh my gosh. And I grew up near Detroit. Actually, who's this? Is it the Bears? Oh my gosh. I think it's the Bears. I am not a sports fan, can you tell? But actually the Lions, they used to be in the same stadium as the Tigers, and then they built a stadium in Pontiac, which was kind of near where my grandmother lived. And now the Tiger Stadium, they tore that down. I don't know where the Tiger Stadium is now. I just when I was a kid, my brother he lived and breathed sports, and well, he died quite a while ago. He was only 36. He had cancer. But when we were growing up, I knew all the baseball players' stats. I understand baseball. Don't ask me anything about football. But growing up, I knew all about baseball and a little bit about football. But my ex-husband was never a big sports fan, and my son, I swear he didn't know a soccer ball from a football. So sports just hasn't been in our family in quite a while. Have I ever seen American Pie? I remember the song. So if I saw it, it was a really long time ago. I really don't remember it. But yeah, sports is not my thing. The never ending song. That is a never ending song. Now it's going to be playing in my head all night. So thank you for that, Eli. Or is it Ellie? I'm sorry. Every once in a while you hear a song and like, oh no. There's a name for that when you can't get it out of your mind. But my grandsons, the first one, okay. My grandsons, my daughter's boys played soccer, and I was always asking the same questions. Drove my Chevy to the levee. I'd try to sing it, but it'll scare everybody off. That was a good song. But when my grandsons were little, I enjoy photography, so I took a gazillion pictures of the boys, but don't ask me anything about soccer. I did understand it takes 10 yards to get it down in football. I don't know if you do that in soccer or not. That's not my forte. Now my son, he was into remote control cars. That was his thing. So I know a little bit about remote control cars, but but nothing about sports. Do I consider myself English? Yes. I am three-quarters English, to be honest. And I was born in England. I don't remember it. Um, my dad, my dad served in the Air Force in the mid 50s, and I should know about football, right? Because they call it soccer football. But yes, I was born in England. So my dad was in the Air Force near Liverpool. It's Burton Wood Air Force Base. And he met my mom and they fell in love and blah, blah, blah. So they married, and I was born there, and my brother, and I was 17 months old when we came to America. And actually, my dad's dad was also born in England, and his parents immigrated to Canada when he was 7, and his dad died in Canada, and then his mother moved to the Detroit, Michigan area. I think I think she was with a cousin. I'm kind of fuzzy on that story. So I have three English-born grandparents. And then my dad's mother, her family came from Germany. So I really am mostly English, and I have this lovely Hoosier accent. So, um, famous home of the Chicago Lions. You heard it here first. So, yeah, don't ask me to be the sports announcer because I really won't get the story right. Good night, AJ. So, but yes, I'm proud of my English heritage, even though I'm Americanized. All my mother's family's still in England, and I have a cousin that I'm friends with on Facebook. We've never met, but we talk quite a bit. So, in fact, she sent me a really cool story. Burtonwood Air Force Base is no longer, um, it's a relic. Burtonwood Air Force Base was an American base, and I don't know when it shut down. I think in the early 60s, and now they've got a history museum there now. She sent me some pictures of it recently. I thought it was pretty cool. How did you know that she was English? Ellie knows everything. I may have talked about it. I don't know. Um, I try not to. I try not to. Maybe it's something I say. I occasionally come up with an unusual comment because I remember hearing it growing up. That could be. I don't know. So maybe Ellie really knows me, but I don't know her. So, well, actually, football and soccer are kind of, did she say him or hum? I'm gonna have to put my glasses on to see what. She's a him. I know everything. Well, I'm a girl through and through. Don't get me started on that one. I recently had my yearly. When you turn 65, you have to get a wellness doctor visit, and it just. Oh, Ellie is a him. Okay, gotcha. Eli, Ellie. Now I'm gonna forget which one's right. Okay, so AJ isn't the only male. Okay, so I'm way off base here, but I had to when you turn 65, you get a wellness checkup every year. And on the questionnaire, they ask you how you identify yourself and what sex were you when you were born. And if you're not the same sex now that when you were born, you have to provide paperwork. Oh, God, this is too confusing for me. Eli Manning. Is he a football or baseball person? Eli. He's a famous sports person. So, I am so sorry. Just check the box that says NA. Or like what's your sex? You say yes. Oh my gosh, I'm going off the deep end here. And I love it when they say football. I like it when they ask you if you're Hispanic or white, and then they say neither Hispanic or white. And I'm going, I don't know. Why do they ask that question? You've already identified what ethnic race you are. I don't know. I don't write this stuff up. So, well, we have been online for almost an hour and a half. Shall we keep talking or do we want to call it a night? Oh, there you go. Asian or um I don't think it should really matter. The only time I think it could matter is, for medical reasons. Some ethnic backgrounds are more prone to, like, I don't know why this pops in my head, but and now I lost the thought. I forget. There's one race that has a blood disorder. And I don't remember which one it is now. Just ignore the questions. You don't have to answer. Oh, their questions are on an iPad, so you can't skip stuff anymore. Medicare. Everywhere wants that. Reporting purpose. Leading the way for eugenics. And I'm not sure what eugenics means. Oh, I have a question while we're still talking. And I'm kind of, how do I want to say it? I'm a bit of a cynic. But anyways, I took out a car loan in 2024. I bought a car and I had almost enough money to cash flow it. So I took out a loan for $2,500 and I had the money in the bank and I made 3 car payments. Okay. I made 3 car payments. And then I decided this is nuts. Just pay off the car. So I paid off the car in April of 2024 and it was through a credit union. And I got a letter today in the mail, and I got it yesterday, saying that the car loan company, it was a credit union, all their information was compromised, and they got my information. This happened in August of 2025. I paid off my car in April of 2024. So now they're advising that I freeze all my accounts with all 3 credit reporting bureaus. So I started to go through that, and they want all this information, and I just don't want to give it all out. I don't mind. I know everybody knows my name, my address, my date of birth, but they want my current address. There was all kinds of stuff that they wanted. I'm not sure if I want to disclose it. And Mary, this is not the first time I've been compromised. I've gotten letters from various doctors. No, it wasn't. Actually, they sent me a letter, and I think it's called Epic. They'll give me free anti-fraud monitoring for a year or something. Ellie, I'm glad you said that. So, but I guess it is a good idea to go on to the three credit reports like Experian. I forget the name of the other two. So I just don't know where to go. You know? So I've been compromised. And I've had to replace my debit card several times because someone found it and you think it's a scam. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that a credit union would be compromised. They call it the dark web. So I don't know. It's one of those things in life you just don't know. So I do check my credit reports. You can do that free every year. And what you can do is there's three different credit reports. So every 4 months, you could go to one and get a yearly review. And then 4 months later, go to the next one. And then 4 months later, go to the third one. So you can check your credit reports. And we just have to be so careful these days what we do. And I don't know. Yeah, and I've heard stuff with debit cards. Fortunately, well, the one time it happened was at Target, and I got notified, and I closed down my debit card immediately. Well, that's the thing with freezing the credit card, freezing your credit accounts. They're the ones that want all this information. They want a record that, they want a utility bill to show my current address. They're the ones that want all this information. And that's kind of why I'm hesitant to freeze it. I didn't realize that I had to provide all this information. I should go into the credit union is, I'm not even sure. I bought the car in another city, and the credit union I think is up near South Bend. Well, that's what Simply Michelle says to put an alert on my credit report. Maybe that's what I should do. So it's just another headache in life. And and I've heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, you see these ads that people can steal the deed to your home. I don't quite understand that one, but I guess you can buy insurance for that too. Right. I need to do my homework on that, I guess. It's all scary. We need to be aware of what's going on. And that's kind of why I do this channel a little bit. So make aware. I know I don't think too many people watched it, but when I went to my credit union a couple weeks, there was a pamphlet about scam alerts, and I made a video about it. Just to make people aware. A fraud alert. So evidently my data was compromised when I had my car loan for 3 lousy months when I could have paid cash for it. So you just don't know. And I guess everybody monitors everything we do anyways. I don't know what difference it makes. My life is pretty boring. If you want to make it more exciting, let me know about it. I'm being silly. And Susie Q, got one today that looked official. Oh, now that really would be a scam. It's about a $869 charge for something if I didn't agree with the charges. Oh gosh, that is scary. Um, I haven't gotten anything like that. I've heard, like, if somebody calls you on your cell phone and they say, "Is this Donna?" If you say yes or no, they will they will record you saying yes, and then they can use your voice to go to something else and saying, "Yes, she agreed to this $10 million gadget." So anyways, when somebody calls and asks, they ask for Donna, I say, "This is she," and it kind of stops people, but I'm not going to say yes because I don't know if they're going to record. I'm not going to take that chance. Oh, the dark web. Experian told me my phone number was found on the dark web. Well, this letter I got said my data was on the dark web. And then I went to this other page and they said I had passwords for things I'd never even heard of before. And then when I went to research the company, they were no longer there. So I think, unfortunately, we're probably all on the dark web somewhere. It's just we get caught. They get caught. I do have a it's called Delete Me, and I have an account for that. And my one good friend, she was telling me she gets 5 and 6 phone calls a day that they're trying to sell her stuff, and I very rarely get one. So evidently, and I'm not advertising Delete Me. There's other apps too out there, but it might not hurt to check into some of these. There's Delete Me. I think there's Incognito. I think there's all kinds of stuff out there. We just need to be aware. Aware of our surroundings, aware of what we do. If anything looks sketchy, when in doubt, say no. Well, I know before I started a YouTube channel, I thought, you know, do I really want to put myself out there? Am I compromising myself? I did give that some thought. So we just need to be cautious. And that's that. I guess the good thing is, what is the good thing? I don't know. We just need to be aware of our surroundings. The bad part of getting old. But the good thing about getting old is hopefully we've gained some wisdom over the years. And like I said earlier, I didn't go to Charlie Kirk's prayer vigils because I'm older and I'm more concerned about, you know, being hurt physically. Mentally, I'm alert, but I know physically I could be knocked over easier than somebody else or something like that. So I'm aware of my physical surroundings. Yes, and people are kinder to you when you get older. I quit coloring my hair when I was 59 and I went gray really young. And anyways, when I went totally gray, men started opening doors for me and I go, what's going on here? And I realized they were being respectful to an older person. So, and it's nice to know that people do that nowadays. But by the same token, sometimes if I'm standing in line, someone will say, "Well, you can go ahead of me," and I say, "No, I'm fine." And I also think one perk about being older is I was in the store a couple weeks ago and there was this most adorable baby. She had big brown eyes and we just made eye contact and I just gave her the biggest smile and she gave me the biggest smile and her mom smiled. We were all smiling. And I think it's because they recognize I was kind of a grandma type person and who doesn't love a baby with big brown eyes? And my babies have big blue eyes, but she was just the cutest thing. So there are perks to getting older, but we do need to be wise. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, Susie, this is true. You can get away with so much. I don't have to worry about makeup, and I do have a new hairstyle. See, actually, with COVID, I mean, I wore makeup all the time, but when COVID hit, I can't wear couldn't wear lipstick anymore. So I got away from it. And I kind of don't care. But I know last week, last Friday, it was really windy out. So I didn't take my trash out Thursday night. The trash doesn't come out around till about 10 in the morning. So I went out about 8:30 and I wear flannel pants, pajama pants, they're flannel. And I thought, I need to get dressed. And I thought, you see people wear flannel shirts or flannel pants in the stores. I ran out and I have a long coat, but 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been caught dead going out to taking the trash out with flannel pants on. Susie Q has brown eyes. Oh no. So what did I do the other day? I had a shirt on inside out. I think I was getting ready to walk out the door and I saw the tag. I thought, Donna, you can't even dress yourself. Yeah, we can get away with it. The young and the old. So we've been on for an hour and 45 minutes, but I'm just really enjoying this tonight. What else? I do enjoy getting old. Um, and I've heard people talk about when I was younger and they were be in their 70s and they said, "Well, I think like I'm in my 40s." And now that I'm 70, I don't think I think like a 70-year-old. I think like I'm in my 40s or 50s. So I must admit when I look in the mirror sometimes I go, who's that old lady looking back at me? Same girl, same, and she's 62. So, and then I have used it to my advantage a time or two. I'm pretty sure I'm 5 foot, almost 5'1". And if there's something way up high on the shelf in the store, I don't have any problem anymore. Sir, could you get that for me? And oh yeah, we'll get it for you. So I'm not quite so intimidated asking for help as when I was when I was younger. So I don't know. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm starting to my voice is starting to go here a little bit. And I have really enjoyed talking tonight. So, sure, we can talk next week. We can talk about the perks of being older. What can we get away with? Away with. I think we will talk about that next week. I had fun too. Um, so I hope every one of you has a great weekend coming up and a good week next week. And we live all over the country, so if you're in the north, stay warm. If you're warm, I heard on the news that Florida might get snow. Now there's some gossip for you. So I hope Florida doesn't get gossip. I hope Florida doesn't get snow. A family practitioner versus a geriatric physician. Boy, that's another sore subject of mine. When you turn 65, they ask you if you need help getting up on the examining bed. And I go, I'm just a day older than I was yesterday. So good night, Ellie, Eli. I hope you come back. Thanks for all your input, and thanks everybody else for stopping by. Remember, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Good night, everybody. I've always needed help being short, to be honest.